Hey, Warpugs. So today we're going to be checking out something from FatBrett, and this is Senator Armstrong. Now, here's the thing. The only prior knowledge I have about Senator Armstrong is from it's from a Maxor video. So, yeah, I know nothing about this guy. This is a deconstruction of Villainy. Now, this has been something I've been wanting to check out for quite some time now. This was requested by Lorgar. And honestly, I don't quite know what to expect because the last I saw this guy, it was Maxor's script, and if you have not seen Maxor's video about Metal Gear, it's something special. Warpugs, I'm going to sit back here, going to relax a little bit, we're going to turn this on, we're going to learn some stuff. I have been looking forward to the series. I've seen it pop up a couple of times on my feed. I haven't seen anything from it yet, so this is going to be a little adventure for me. Guys, all of FatBrett's links are going to be in the description down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's jump right into this.
An element of absurdity in American culture, of outrageousness, of freedom-loving, flag-humping, eagle-hugging, football-watching, gun-toting, beer-guzzling, hamburger-stuffing, patriotic fervor. There's an element of the ridiculous in American culture, and the
He's really not wrong.
truth is, we all love it.
Yes.
I remember my first time tailgating a college football game and watching a bunch of fat, middle-aged freaks getting pissed drunk on cheap beer, slurring along to John Denver's country roads, waving both glitzy flags and drizzled wieners in each other's faces, shoving greasy grilled cheeseburgers and hot dogs down their choked throats, watching in awed astonishment, and thinking to myself, what a god-dang country. God bless America. And that's Senator Armstrong. Despite being created by a Japanese company, this guy is quintessentially American.
Excellent.
Senator Armstrong is the politician that every American male politician wishes they could be.
Awesome.
Senator Armstrong is the
And he looks kind of like Kurt Angle, so there you go.
tough guy, muscle man, football playing, action politician caricature that people who are obsessed with Donald Trump think Donald Trump is. If Senator Armstrong was a real person, he would get votes. The American people would love this guy, would love the grandstanding, the showboating, the self-aware absurdity, the machismo, the shameless, outrageous hyper-nationalism, the open talk of warfare, and the obsession with masculine strength. And they'd love Armstrong even more because behind all his rambling, long-winded speeches, beneath all the bluster and the goofiness and the cheesy lines, there's a core of truth. Metal Gear Rising, despite being one of the most ridiculous and goofiest action games I've ever played, has a shockingly intelligent narrative. It has a deeply flawed protagonist who struggles with the contradiction between his pursuit of justice and the incredible violent slaughter he engages in. The gulf between his high-minded ideals and the grim reality that, over the course of this story, he has killed hundreds of people who might not deserve it, who each have just as complicated motivations as himself for being in this fight.
See, that's the thing that you never seem to be able to get in any kind of game whatsoever. You never hear about the Mook. You never hear about them at all. And they die in record numbers.
The game has a cast of fairly complex antagonists, none of whom are killing just for the sake of killing, none of whom are just evil for the sake of being evil, but each of whom has some different perspective on the meaning of violence and warfare, each of whom are happy to monologue at length about their individual philosophies and motivations, and I'm all here for it. I loved listening to these weird mercenary murder cyborgs spouting off philosophical treatises on the cynical nature of violence in between bouts of some of the most ridiculous and most cinematic action gameplay I've ever seen in a video game. Metal Gear Rising is freaking crazy, and at the top of this pile of villainous philosophical murder cyborgs is Senator Armstrong. He's silly, he's outrageous, he's internet meme worthy. Everything he says and does is hilarious. But again, there's a truth beneath all the bluster, however warped that truth might be. Armstrong says that the American nation is rotted deep down inside, that we're sick, that we need a revolution to fix all our problems, that America isn't great now, but it could be great again. And that's something that basically every American of every political stripe agrees with.
True.
Though few people can agree on what the true nature of that rot is. And what makes Armstrong really, really American is that his true obsession is with freedom. He espouses a radical brand of individual freedom that borders on a kind of anarchistic social Darwinism on a grand scale, where every individual should be able to do absolutely anything and everything they want, just so long as they're strong enough to do it. To really understand this over-the-top villain, we've got to watch a couple of his late-game cutscenes together, because his monologues are as dense as they are hilarious. So here's the first one, and this cutscene shows Armstrong at his silliest.
Like, he picked up my man there, rolled him up like a ball, and then kicked a goal with him.
Well, if it isn't Saucy Jack. Just a little too late, as usual. Armstrong. Impressive little toy you've got there. But your plan ends here. Idiot. You're not ending our plan. You're expanding it.
Congratulations.
Check the internet lately.
Ryder, Air Force One is turning back to the States.
What? How'd they know?
Someone posted photos of what's happening on the base. The whole world is up in arms.
Oh.
Show me. How did they? The story leaked early. Then Marshall's plan is ruined.
The hell it is. Look what they're saying. The story just went live, and already they're calling for blood.
Axis of evil.
But the president...
I remember when that little tidbit hit the airwaves. My God, the axis of evil. George Bush got up there, said that, and I just sat there, looked at the screen like, bruh. Like, I don't know if you don't understand, but you're spitting some heavy fighting words right now. And this was when I was in the military. I was sitting there just looking at the screen like, why?
Was saved. And yet American blood was spilled. By Americans.
Oh.
Besides, a few dozen soldiers is tragic, but nothing to start a major war over.
That's just the spark, son. The excuse we've been waiting for. America's wanted this war for years. The Patriots, they knew war was good for the economy. 4 years later, their legacy lingers on.
The memes.
The memes.
They left us their great isms. Nationalism, unilateralism, materialism. Welcome maxims for those with no faith, without guiding principles of their own. Give yourself up to the whole. No need to better yourself.
Is this whole game just a flat-out meme?
You're American. You're number one. Then the only value left is dollar value. The economy. So we'll do whatever it takes to keep it humming along.
Hooray!
Even war. Especially war.
Bullshit.
Yes.
The Patriots planted the seed. We don't need them around to filter and foster their memes any longer. We're spreading them just fine ourselves. Every American man, woman, and child. We're all sons of the Patriots now.
Okay.
We just need something to jumpstart the economy out of this funk. This recession it's been stuck in since the fall of SOP.
And the military costs? Wasting billions is going to help the economy?
PMCs, arms manufacturers, job creators, Jack. All those workers spending money, paying taxes. Trust me, a little war can work wonders.
Well,
So grease the gears with some innocent blood, is that it?
Oh, relax, Jack. It's a war on terror. We're not out to kill civilians. Extremists, lawless gangs, madmen. Of course, that would have to include you.
sucks, but yeah.
Every single individual one of this guy's lines are so fun. He actually opens this cutscene by stomping out of a giant death robot, casually taking a puff on a huge cigar, and saying, well, if it isn't Saucy Jack. This guy is awesome. Another key element of Armstrong's character is his ability to manipulate internet discourse, and through that, manipulate popular opinion, and through that, he can manipulate the course of events across the entire world. He understands that internet culture is all about appearances. It's all about shaping a certain narrative. It's all about fomenting an emotional outrage that can fit inside a narrow 280 character limit. Armstrong.
The bad thing about this is just modern day media. All this is just modern day media. We live in a culture of outrage media, and like there's no real like I seriously think journalism died somewhere in the early 2000s. Journalism just died. Nobody is out to actually report on what's actually happening. They're trying to appeal to certain demographics nowadays instead of actually reporting the news. So if you ask a guy in one political spectrum, you know, what happened in this town on this day, he's going to tell you something. You ask the person on the other side who gets their news from another source, they're going to tell you something completely different. You can have the same news agencies, like you can have 5 different news agencies reporting on the same person's speech, and that same person's speech is going to be interpreted 5 different ways, with 5 different meanings, with 5 different outcomes, and with 5 different ways that this is going to affect things. This is why I can't stand modern media. This is why I can't stand the news media. Because since about the mid-2000s, it's gradually turned in to this just... And I'd say it reached peak in about 2014. I'd say it reached peak and it's just stayed there, and it's intensified some and it's gone down some depending on what's been going on in the world. But for the most part, the only reason they write articles these days is just to piss somebody off enough to click on something. This needs to end. This needs to end. The media is supposed to be the fifth estate. The media, journalists are supposed to be the fifth estate. They're supposed to be outside of this. They're supposed to be outside of this political, like, ridiculousness that all of them seem to be just mired in with no chance of escape. Like, every single, like, something I tell people, I don't talk about politics that often, but when I do even start to talk about politics, the first thing I say is never get your news from only one source. Never get your news from only one source. I'll see a news article, check another source, and then check the actual original content if I can find it. If there's any video or audio of it that I care enough to research, I'm going to look through that. Because I cannot tell you guys how many times it's been the same thing for me, where I've been sitting there, I hear someone said this or did this, I turn around, I open up another source, there's no record of it, and then I go to the original source and it's something completely different than what both parties were saying. Our system is screwed. Our system is fundamentally screwed because of outrage media.
Armstrong is a villain who uses the most modern of all propaganda techniques, social media, to further his schemes. When I say that Metal Gear Rising has a surprisingly intelligent plot, this is the sort of thing I mean. Armstrong is a ridiculous, over-the-top caricature of a sleazy American politician, but he's also smart. He's a modern villain who knows how to make effective use out of modern tools. Also, notice that line, America's wanted this war for years. There is some truth to this line, and it doesn't even really matter what war he's referring to. Along with the absurdity and the ridiculousness, there's also an element of war fervor in American culture. The military is central to our culture too. What's the point of having the biggest and most advanced military in the world if you don't get to throw your weight around once in a while? Armstrong combines these two elements of American culture.
I wouldn't say that necessarily, because when it comes to certain things, I'm kind of a reactionary when it boils down to it. I do believe that I do believe that we have to do certain things, but to be completely honest with you guys, you've probably heard me talk about Russia and Ukraine at some point if you've been a fan of the channel for a bit. You probably heard me talk about other events. I'm not a fan of war. I'm not a fan of war by any means of the imagination. I am a peace through strength kind of guy, but as Tony Stark said, was it Tony or his dad? The best weapon is one you never have to fire. Like, you never have to actually fire it. All you have to do is show it, and people realize what will happen. But he is right in one regard. America, since its founding, has had a very militaristic culture, and this has been just prevalent throughout our history. We are an extremely militaristic culture. Compared to other countries, we have almost an obsession with our military here. That is, while at the same time, it's a healthy thing for us, for us as a superpower. It's also a bit concerning to other countries when they look at us. If you don't know why that would be, I mean, figure it out. Look at what we did. Look at what we've done look at what we've done when America truly got pissed off enough to where the public was screaming for blood. It didn't take long to just completely and totally devastate countries that had huge armies.
Ridiculous with the war fervor, and aren't these such a dangerous mix? These are two elements you want to keep as far away from each other as possible. You wouldn't ever want to see Bozo the Clown driving a battle tank. Bozo the Clown.
Yes, I would.
Clown has no business piloting a fighter jet. But in America, these two things, the ridiculous and the military bluster, are married to each other. They are inseparable, and Armstrong's character reflects that. And then Armstrong speaks to the great cynicism in American culture, which is the suspicion that we don't have any ideals at all anymore. That all we really care about is money and making as much of it as possible. All our isms are meaningless in the face of dollar value. I can't believe this character was developed by a Japanese company because they're totally nailing it. I love
pretty much.
The animations in this cutscene. Watch the way he swings his arms around while he talks, his big stupid poses. Armstrong is as hilarious as he is dangerous. There is a charisma within comedy. It's hard not to love someone who can make us laugh, sometimes no matter how deplorable their ideas are. And he presents a pretty succinct description of the American war economy. When people talk about how much money this government wastes on the military or on this or that world conflict, the really insidious thing is that we're spending that money on ourselves. We're giving the money to each other.
Right.
Much of it stays within the American economic system. It's not just the rich who benefit from this. Not only do we get to pay ourselves a bunch of money, but we get to feel good about taking down a bad guy too. It can become become a vicious cycle of business interests, idealism, and bloodshed. Again, this game has a surprisingly intelligent story. All the more so because Armstrong is a totally self-aware villain. He understands how crazy everything he says is. He understands that he's cynically using American stereotypes to his advantage. He understands that he is selfish and greedy. Armstrong is the kind of villain who knows that he's a villain. Alright, so after this, Raiden destroys the giant death robot. Then Armstrong marches out and beats the crap out of Raiden with his bare fists, while spitting out some more hilarious one-liners. This is another thing that makes Armstrong a great villain. He's tough, he's strong, he's threatening. He can kick our hero's butt. As he says, he's not just some beltway pansy. He says he could break the president in half with his bare hands, and I believe him. Let's skip ahead to his next big speech. And this is a really long cutscene. You're not going to hear my voice again for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
As you watch this very long cutscene, and you hear Armstrong explain his true motivations, I want you to think about a question. Could Senator Armstrong get elected in contemporary American politics? And I'm serious. If this guy was running, could he get votes? Is this Japanese video game character so American that he actually out-Americans our real-life politicians? Is he just a clown and a buffoon? Or is this someone that Americans would take seriously?
All right, the truth then. You're right about one thing. I do need capital and votes. Wanna know why? I have a dream.
What?
That one day, every person in this nation will control their own destiny. A land of the truly free, damn it. A nation of action, not words, ruled by strength, not committee. Where the law changes to suit the individual, not the other way around. Where power and justice are back where they belong, in the hands of the people. Where every man is free to think, to act for himself. Fuck all these lunatic lawyers and chicken shit bureaucrats. 24/7 internet spew of trivia and celebrity bullshit. Fuck American pride. Fuck the media. Fuck all of it. America is diseased, rotten to the core. There's no saving it. We need to pull it out by the roots. Wipe the slate clean. Burn it down!
Exactly how many politicians is he sounding like right now? Like, because I'm hearing a lot of a bunch of people in there.
And from the ashes, a new America will be born. Evolved, but unchanged. The weak will be purged. And the strongest will thrive. Free to live as they see fit. They'll make America great again!
What the hell are you talking about?
You still don't get it. I'm using war as a business to get elected. So I can end war as a business. In my new America, people will die and kill for what they believe. Not for money, not for oil. Not for what they're told is right. Every man will be free to fight his own wars.
Does that mean I get to have an Abrams tank? That's just a question. It's just a question I'm asking for a friend. He's an anarcho-capitalist. He's an anarcho-capitalist. Imagine getting, oh my God, this dude. Imagine getting stomped out by somebody who then lights a cigar while they're standing on your chest. That's disrespectful.
So, what do you think?
How the hell did you get elected?
Well, I don't write my own speeches.
Most people
Should
don't.
try fighting for what you believe in sometime, Jack. Not for a company or a nation or for anyone else.
Maybe I was wrong about you.
Am I finally getting through? I'll rid this world of pointless wars, Jack.
That's a bull. Dude, just know this guy is maximum disrespect.
I was wrong. You're not greedy. You're batshit insane!
Okay. Whoa, whoa!
My question before we watched that long cutscene was, could Armstrong actually get elected today? Raiden,
Not speaking the way he was speaking, but I guarantee you people would vote for something. Like, I guarantee you people would vote for somebody saying similar things with just doing what every politician does and removing 10% of the truth. The most important 10% usually.
and through him the writers of the game, say no. Raiden asks, how did you ever get elected? He accuses Armstrong of being insane, as if that is somehow a disqualifying factor in American politics. Metal Gear Rising was released in 2013, and back in 2013, I don't think everyone realized how totally okay the American people are with crazy. Not only are we okay with crazy, we love crazy.
Yes, we do.
love getting outraged over crazy. We love cheering on crazy. We love watching crazy on both Fox News and CNN. We love watching clips of crazy on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
Hell yeah. And YouTube now, because now YouTube has shorts.
We cannot get enough of crazy.
Damn
In
straight.
today's meme-obsessed and social media-dominated internet landscape, Armstrong's antics and ramblings would dominate the news cycle.
They would.
Start with memes, and then it would get serious, and more serious, and more serious, and finally it would become lethal, because Armstrong's ideology would kill millions. Armstrong is a charismatic character, and so there is something undeniably appealing about his worldview here. He speaks of a radical form of freedom, where absolutely anyone can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, be whatever they want.
And
Isn't that exactly the
anarcho-capitalism.
kind of freedom Americans love most? Don't Americans hate being told what to do? We're not gonna wear seatbelts. We're not gonna wear face diapers. We're not gonna take your poison shot. We're gonna do whatever we goddamn want because this is America, land of the free, numbnuts. Armstrong calls for a society built on nothing but personal strength. If you are strong enough to rule the world, then you should do it. If you're strong enough to fight and defeat your boss in Mortal Kombat, then you should have his job. If you're strong enough to carry a woman off the street and drag her into your dungeon, then that's your new wife, baby. His vision would obviously make for a terrifying world, but I suspect that a lot of people would find it at least somewhat appealing.
The thing about it is, with people like Armstrong, they never tell you the whole truth. They always leave out an important part, important fragments. And you can see this throughout. Like every politician that has wound up doing some horrible things and got elected and did horrible things, they all told the truth, but they left out just a small bit. They left out a tiny, tiny piece of information about what was going to happen, or where something was going to come from, or who said what. Just a small bit of information would be left out. I'm a big 40K guy. I'm a big Warhammer 40K guy. And the best comparison I can do to how I feel like politicians talk is how Horus got corrupted to chaos. Because there was a guy that showed Horus all this other kind of stuff and left out only one vital piece of information. And it was just one vital piece of information, one small sentence of information, that everything that Horus was seeing that led him to turn was all because of him. Warpugs, this is politics 101. This is why I hate politics. This is why I hate this stuff. Because you would see this guy this guy would dominate the news cycle. He would get a ton of votes. And he would preach his ideology, scream it from the rafters, but he would leave out 10% of the truth.
A lot of people would hear this and think to themselves, well, that works for me because I am strong. I am strong enough to do whatever I want if society would just get out of my way. Armstrong talks about purging the weak, but that's a truly insane statement. Because to purge the weak, you would have to purge literally everyone. The fact is, everyone is weak sometimes. Everyone has weaknesses. That's the reason we build families and communities, so that whatever your weakness is, someone with a compatible strength can cover for you, and vice versa. In an ideal community, everyone works to their strengths and no one is destroyed by their weaknesses. But a lot of people either can't or won't recognize their own weaknesses. Right. And so they would find Armstrong's worldview very appealing. I think this message, espoused by a ridiculous villain in an even more ridiculous Japanese action video game, really would find supporters out in the American political landscape. This cutscene also includes my absolute favorite Armstrong moment in the game, when Raiden pretends to be won over by his speech, and Armstrong immediately picks him up and dusts him off. They even hug. There's a charming affability and gullibility in Armstrong's character that makes him seem even more charismatic. He admires strength above all else, and Raiden is undeniably strong. Armstrong is happy to have him on the team, delighted even. There is no bitterness within Armstrong's character, no hatred. He is not a villain driven by anger or hate. He is driven by an ideal, and that's part of what makes him so appealing too, so fun. His criticisms of American politics and culture are legitimate. Who doesn't agree with Armstrong when he declares, "Fuck all these lawyers and bureaucrats. Fuck this 24/7 spew of trivia and celebrity bullshit. Fuck American pride. Fuck the media. Fuck all of it." I agree, fuck all of those things. But his solution to these very legitimate problems is insane. A far better solution would be a strengthening of communal ties, a focus on all the things that bind us together rather than the few things that tear us apart, an uplifting of compassion and empathy as truer American values than selfishness and greed. But I'm getting...
And you see, the problem is with our news cycle, we never get those. We never get... Like, we get those stories every once in a while, but you actually have to look for them. Meanwhile, some opinion if I turn on the news to find out a little bit more information about something I saw, I'm going to see one guy sitting there as a moderator with a blank look on his face while two people are screaming at each other, or three people are screaming at each other. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen before. Our news cycle is no longer news.
Getting off track here. Following this cutscene, the battle between Raiden and Armstrong continues, and the senator reveals that the source of his strength are nanomachines coursing through his blood, which I found to be a bit disappointing. Armstrong isn't actually strong. It's not truly his strength. It's the hyper-advanced and incredibly expensive nanomachines that are strong. He's a cheater, just like every other rich person. He espouses a worldview where strength will determine a man's place in the world, but he's not working on a level playing field. He has a paid-for advantage. It cheapens everything he said. His ideals are bogus. It's not really about strength, it's about money, just like everything else.
Yep.
To end this essay, let's fast forward to Armstrong's death and hear his final words.
Well done, Jack.
Your dream dies with you.
Oh, maybe not. You've guaranteed the status quo will go on. For a while longer, at least.
Uh-huh.
War will continue as an institution, as an industry. Men will fight for reasons they don't understand. Causes they don't believe in. But at least I'll leave a worthy successor. You, Jack. You carve your own path. Use whatever methods you see fit.
Ooh.
You don't let legal bullshit get in the way. And if it costs a few lives, so be it. Deep inside, we're kindred spirits. You
Huh.
and I.
Yeah, dude. This is actually poignant because every single game protagonist that you've ever had would agree with him. Period. How many laws do you break in Cyberpunk? How many laws do you break? How many people do you kill in Bannerlord? You know, just the... Oh. It's actually a really good point. Deep inside, we were the anarcho-capitalists all along. You see that now.
Armstrong ends his life with a very cliche, "We're not so different, you and I." This is classic villain talk. Villains are always saying this to the heroes. However, while it is a cliche, it also speaks to a fundamental storytelling truth, which is that, in really good stories, the villain is almost always a dark reflection of the hero. In a lot of stories, the villain will embody some negative trait within the hero, so that when the hero defeats the villain, they're also overcoming that dark part of themselves. And like with so much of his dialogue, there is more truth than falsehood to what Armstrong says here. Raiden's actions in the game really do exemplify Armstrong's worldview. Armstrong wants to create a world where those who are strong enough get to do whatever they want, get to shape the world in any way they desire, right or wrong, ignoring laws and mores and popular opinion. And that's exactly what Raiden has done in this game.
Yep.
He worked outside the law, and sometimes he did what he thought was right, but other times he simply did what he wanted to do. And what he really wanted to do was destroy the Desperados and Armstrong, punish them for their crimes. In Armstrong's ideal world, good people would be free to do good, just so long as they possess the necessary strength. Like I've said multiple times already, this is intelligent writing. His worldview isn't only a playground for atrocities, there is also the possibility for good, and the hero's actions aren't really invalidating the villain's worldview. In fact, Raiden's actions could be used to argue in favor of Armstrong's worldview.
Right.
Even in defeat and in death, Armstrong doesn't lose control, doesn't lose his composure the way so many other action video game villains do. His intellect and his charisma remain until his very last breath. He is an impressively written villain. I know most people think of Senator Armstrong as just being some ridiculous meme, but this is actually really good writing. This is a villain who is compelling, who is charismatic, who is fun, who is silly, who has ideals, who has an intriguingly coherent, if completely insane and dangerous worldview. This is a villain who is strong, dangerous, even more so because he is so charismatic and affable. I'd never played Metal Gear Rising before, but after playing, I think Armstrong has become one of my favorite villains in the series. And this is a series with a lot of great villains. It's been a long time since I played a Metal Gear game, and I'd forgotten how much I love its wacky, over-the-top, conspiracy-laden, but often intelligent narrative style. It's gotten me interested in replaying the other games. Luckily, there's a new Metal Gear Solid collection releasing this October. So, if there's any interest, maybe I could do a whole series of essays examining all of the crazy villains in these games.
Okay. So, what we're looking at, this made me talk about modern day more than I normally would talk about in a video, by any stretch of the imagination. Normally I'm not talking about stuff like this, but there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth in this. The biggest takeaway from this is, for me, when you're fighting against, when you're thinking about villains, as they stand, the worst villain that you can fight is one that points out that you're doing the same thing that they are. You are doing the exact same thing that they are. You're no better than them. You're no better than them, no matter your ideological leanings or anything like that. That statement where he tells Raiden that they're a lot alike, it stabs right at the heart, because it's true. You've been living his worldview that he's trying to propagate. You just beat him within his own worldview. And like I said, Armstrong would definitely get votes today, because he could hide his true intentions by telling 90% truth and leaving out the last 10%. That's what most people do nowadays anyway. So, that's the sick part. That's not the fun part. It is the true part, though. Warpugs, I'm gonna head out of here. This was... I love villains. I think we don't have enough good ones anymore. I really don't think we have good villains anymore. And examples like this make me really, really miss the times where we had good, interesting, driven villains in our media that we could sit there and take a look at and actually see something like a reflection of our own darker impulses. Competent villains that weren't just complete pushovers. Warpugs, FatBrett, I'm definitely going to want to take a look at some more of the things from him, because this was absolutely incredible. It was very well broken down. Today I learned about Senator Armstrong, the anarcho-capitalist. Just don't ever come over to his yard to ask for a cup of sugar, because you'll be violating the non-aggression pact. Warpugs, all the links are going to be in the description below, including my own. Join the channel as a member. Join as a Patreon. I'm going to head out from here. I hope to see you guys on the next one. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'm out, Warpugs.